Hello y'all. Has been a minute, but your girl Sharice is back in another video. So guys, if you're new to this channel, please like and subscribe. Like up the video, because the more you like, the more the YouTube algorithm sends it out there for more people to see. All right, so like, share, and comment and subscribe to the channel. In this video, guys, I'm going to be talking about the aging narcissistic mother. Okay, listen, in many times of these narcissistic mothers, they have undealt with, unhealed childhood traumas that they have oftentimes not overcome, they have not let gone of, they have not forgiven. And as they go through life, many times these mothers, they can be beautiful or whatever the case may be when they were younger, and they use that as a mask to get what they wanted, and all these fantasies in their mind that they think that they were going to create in their life that they didn't create, right? So they grow up, keep being in that victim cycle, and they just have not healed and forgive and let go and move on with their lives and see themselves as victors. They like to portray themselves as the these are mostly the covert narcissistic ones, where they will portray themselves as such a victim. So poor pity me, my poor pity, my poor past, and this happened to me, and blah blah blah, and you just don't love and care for me, and how dare you, da 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 da. And they just continue on this rhetoric of just being a victim, and they don't want to see themselves to be healed, because they get no attention from being healed. They get no attention from moving forward in life and letting go of whatever may have happened to them as a child, and forgiving themselves and forgiving those that harmed them, and just go on and be a successful, productive, useful, kind, beautiful soul of a human being in this world. No, they choose to continue to say, I'm a victim, I deserve to be sad, I deserve to be down, and how dare you tell me I need to get up? How dare you tell me I need to get over it? How dare you tell me I should not be depressed and stuff? And they want you to sit around them and deal with all of that. Many of these covert narcissistic mothers and stuff, they jealous of their daughters. If they have daughters, they're very jealous of their daughters. They will not raise their daughters right, and they will not raise them proper. They will not teach them to keep themselves. They will not teach them to take care of their health. They will not teach them anything, because they don't want their daughters to grow beautiful internally and outside as well, physically as well, because they see them as a competition, because they're the younger, tighter, firmer, prettier version of who they are. So if so they teach their daughters not to take care of themselves and to let themselves go, be fat, overweight, just be very insecure in themselves, and they beat insecurities into those daughters, so they grow up just being insecure individuals, and it's so sad. But yes, as these aging narcissistic mothers age, they start to lose their beauty, they start to lose their hold of people, and they eventually start to show their vampire teeth. They don't really care, and oftentimes they abuse drugs. They will abuse alcohol, they abuse narcotics, they abuse things to cope with their cycle that they choose to be stuck in, their own mental imprisonment. And Bob Marley says it the best: free yourself from mental slavery. None but yourself can free you. Some of them have gone to therapy, psychiatrists or whatever, and they just go there to just gaslight the doctors and get narcotics to abuse. Or some of them just don't think nothing is wrong with them, and that they don't need to go at all to seek help. And it's super sad what these aging narcissistic mother does to their children, and how oftentimes, if they were married, they destroy their partner, their significant other, they destroy their husbands, and through the courts and all these things. They're completely taken over by demonic spirit, because they choose to open themselves up to that vessel and create this life of just misery for themselves by the way they think. And then the external keep bringing that to them, because they literally don't understand that you're creating this. So then their children get older and leave them, because who wants to keep dealing with that? Who wants to keep dealing with you lashing out? who wants to keep dealing with you when you don't get your way? You want to control and manipulate and tell your children and tell them this, that you're going to take this from them. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Like, you know, people start to distance themselves because they realize here you are toxic. You're behaving in a very toxic, manipulative, and just condescending of ways. And I'm not going to live around that. I'm not going to tolerate that. So oftentimes, their children don't want to deal with them, and the ones that do deal with them is normally like the people pleasers. They're like the scapegoat ones, right? But the golden child, after a while, don't come around. The other one that they always used to blame, they don't come around. They don't want to deal with that person. And oftentimes you see these narcissistic mothers, when they collapse, they want to threaten suicide. They'll do and say anything to get attention, and it's completely sad and disgusting the length that they will go to, okay? Just for attention and crying wolf. They would be like, I'm gonna kill myself and da 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 da, and I can't take it and da da da. It's so sad, and it's actually pathetic. And you know, you as an empath, yeah, you care about them, you care about their emotions and feelings and stuff, but it becomes at a certain point where you have to realize that this is sick, and this is what they do to try and rile up your emotions. They will say things to try and trigger you. They will do things to try and trigger you, and then play the victim like, oh, look, da 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 da. It's completely terrible. And as they age, their real mask start to show, and they just be who they are, just a nasty, corrupt person that they is. You know, the soul that they are, that is so corrupt. It's so like gotten to a point where they kind of like become so unsavable because they choose not to want to save themselves. Nobody can save you unless you want to save yourself. So, and before they go out, they normally will squander things. They normally will lie, manipulate to try and get people to stay. Be like, oh, I will leave you this, and I'm gonna leave you that, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that. And when they die, you realize they left you nothing. You realize how much you are left with their debts, and you're left with all of their garbage. And this is what they do to keep people around. Be like, oh, I'm leaving you this. I have life insurance. I have this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I have this in place for you. But they don't have shit in place for you. They die just to corrupt soul who they are. And it's super, super sad. And you as a child, if you have a narcissistic mother and she's aging, and she's starting to lash out in her emotions. She can't control her emotions, and she just being a victim all the time, just blaming and poor me, and how dare you, you don't understand, and they're playing all, and I'm gonna kill myself, and all these things that they do. You have to take care of you, okay? You have to put you first. And they hate when they don't no longer have that control over you. Because as a child and your age and you're growing, your parents shape a lot of your perception. They shape a lot of your psychological and emotional state and well-being as a child from the womb and growing up until you get to that age of accountability and you know right from wrong. You start learning, you start maturing and getting more educated and knowledgeable. You're like, this is not a normal behavior. This is not okay. And you have to choose to not repeat that generational curse. It becomes a generational curse. Oftentimes you see the oldest daughter or whatever of these aging narcissistic mothers, once that aging narcissistic mother passes, you can often see that they start to take on that role. They start behaving how that mother was behaving, and unless you choose to be like, you know what, I don't want to be absolutely nothing how this woman are or was, and I see what it is, what it produces, and what it do. And I can't be that. I refuse to allow this cycle to continue in my generation and in my bloodline of family. This is where it ends. And I'm breaking this, and I'm putting foot on it. And I got to do everything that I possibly can do in myself to make sure I'm completely healed from that. Make sure I'm completely delivered from stuff like that. And you do that for your own mental health and your emotional well-being and your physical well-being. Okay? So you don't continue as a daughter being the way you see your narcissistic aging mother was, okay? They do not get better as they age, especially for the female narcissistic mothers, because they lose their beauty, they're getting wrinkled, they can't control people, and they definitely can't control and play man now that they're older and washed up. So if they have sons and stuff, they try to manipulate their sons and all these different things and control their sons. It's toxic what they do. And if they have their daughter, they despise their daughters because they're a younger version and will be here longer than them. And especially if you're one that left and you just not with the bullshit and you went on to live a better life, yeah, that Asian mother ain't gonna like you. That Asian narcissistic mother is not gonna like you because you got a fire in you. And every time they try their bullshit, you call them out on that shit. Or even if you're the son and you're calling them out on that shit, they're not gonna like you because you're letting them self-reflect. And you're allowing them to look at themselves and be like, listen, you need help. You need to get healed. You need to get better. I'm not gonna put up with this. I'm not gonna put up with your verbal abuse. I'm not gonna put up with your psychological abuse and your emotional abuse. You will die here alone. Go on and off yourself if you want to. Go meet your maker. The world will still continue on. And I'm going to still continue on with my life. With or without you here. How dare you not cater to my emotions and allow me to just continue my negative self-emotional rhetorics. How dare you not agree with my dysfunction? So, if you have an aging narcissistic mother, whether you are a son or a daughter of them, it's important that you take care of your mental health. It's important that you take care of your physical health as well. It's important that you distance yourself. Yeah, you can love them and try to be there for them and get them to self-reflect and work with them and da-da-da-da-da. If they've been this way since they were 20 years old and now they're 60, 70 years old, they've been on this cycle for how many years? There's no way you're going to break that loop for them if they don't want to break that loop for themselves. They're just looking for somebody to agree with their dysfunction. And if you don't agree with their dysfunction, you're their enemies. You're their enemy. And they're praying evil for you. So, take care of you. And know that you are not your parents. You were born out of her womb or whatever, but you have your own individual life and you have your own soul. And what you do in your record of time here on earth, she will not answer for. Just like you can't answer for none of her toxic ways to God. When her soul goes back or get reincarnated into something worse, if reincarnation is even real. But I know what I mean. We all come from a divine place, a soul that's inside of this flesh body, and it will return back. And you want to live a good, healthy, best life as possible. Life can be unfair and things do happen, but it's what you choose to do. You can choose to look at it negative and just keep repeating those negative thoughts and keep repeating those negative experiences and actions. Or you can be like, this happened, but I'm going to do this and be better. I know what I want to do and I'm going to do that. I'm not going to be defeated. I'm not going to let because this person abused me as a child stop me from being a loving woman or man or, or have children and be loving to them and raise them better. You don't let what happened to you define you. But a lot of these unhealed, trauma-filled, narcissistic parents, they did not get healing. Then they try to jump into relationship and marriages as distractions, then produce children, then input many of their toxic ways into those children. And it takes those children to grow up and realize that this is not normal. This was never normal. That happened in my childhood, whatever I have seen. And I'm going to get healed from that, and I'm going to be better. It's all a choice. Everything that we do in life is a choice, and every choice we make do have consequences. So if you sit there and be a victim and sit there, keep playing negative thoughts and keep doing negative actions, you're going to create a lot of negative things in your life. And then that's what happens with these aging narcissistic mothers. And then they create these negative experiences in their life. They start losing things. They start getting illnesses, and more problems start to come up, and more debts and more bills and more this start happening in their life, because they're such in that low frequency that you can be in, which is apathy, anger, bitterness, resentment, all those low vibrational emotional beings, and that they're operating out of. Sorrow, victimhood, and all that stuff. It literally creates externally for more negative things to come into their lives. And then the more it keeps coming, and they keep blaming God, they keep saying the devil attacking them, all these things, but they don't realize they create these things with their own words, through their own mind, and through their own actions. Because they refuse to let go and become successful, normal, stable, producing, productive people to society. They choose to lay down and be a victim. And if you don't agree with their victimhood mentality, and if you don't walk on eggshell, and if you don't sit there and agree with their dysfunction, then you're their enemies. So distance yourself if you have to, if that means, you can't be around them because they're taking a toll on you, then don't feel guilty as a child that you're not there for them. No, you have to protect you. Because God knows they can lash out as well physically and can harm you. They get physical as well as verbally and emotionally, psychologically evil and abusive. Because not only do they abuse themselves, but they want to abuse other people. So take care. And until next time, y'all. Like, share, and comment down below if you know what I'm talking about, if you ever dealt with this, okay? Peace out. Bye.